Okay. So what do you see as being positives for students for PBL?
I think my favorite part about the PBL is the student interaction. There's a lot more opportunities for kids to debate and discuss among themselves rather than just getting a monologue from a teacher. It's lots of dialogue, it's lots of arguments, and it's also not just within the same classroom. We typically branch out and go to other classrooms, so they're getting different perspectives from other classes as well. And sometimes even across levels, honors and regular and even AP for the case of government.
Mm-hmm. So do you see students like developing certain skills through PBL?
Absolutely. Basic social skills for one thing. And there's also just a lot of different types of skills that we use. There's always certain writing elements, debating elements, and then working in a group, teamwork elements, stuff like that.
Okay. How else do you see students growing in their understanding of the content, what they're like supposed to be learning?
Yeah, it's a real interaction with the content rather than just taking notes or watching a video. You're actually interacting with it. You're designing it and leading it in a way that that the students want to do. So just the actual working with it, I think, is probably a more effective way of learning than more traditional styles of teaching.
Do the kids tend to actually, though, then pass the tests, or do they struggle on the tests? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, in terms of the tests, in the past when we have done it, the test has turned out very similar. I think there's actually, it's small sample size for me, but for the voting and elections test, I looked at last year's and this year's, and the percentage difference was, it was actually like 1% to 2% better this year. I don't know if that means anything just yet, but it is, I will say that the kids definitely had more fun this year learning it and did similarly on the test.
Right.
So therefore, it definitely is worth it. I think the kids doing the PBL on elections and mock campaigns will definitely remember this more moving forward with their lives and the kids before them who just had standard notes.
Okay. What advice would you give to teachers doing PBL and some tips and traps?
Some advice I would give is try to design a PBL that is relatable and the students will enjoy it. And I think it's pretty easy to figure out situations like that. If you get to know your kids a little bit in the beginning of the year, see the stuff they sort of gravitate towards, and then try to design a PBL that allows them to work with that content, the content that they're into, and that sort of thing.
Do you do everything project-based learning, or do you pick and choose?
We've been mixing it up. So it's been about 50-50. So we've had some units. So we just finished a Congress simulation for the whole legislative branch this year. And then for the voting and campaigning unit, we also did a PBL. But then there's been a couple other units like federalism that we did a more traditional sort of notes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I think the kids prefer, from what I can tell, and like their interactions in class, that they probably prefer the PBL style learning. At least this particular group of kids.
Yeah. And you, for all students, you said, so is PBL being offered to all students, the general ed and the AP students?
Yeah, it can be implemented on any level. I mean, I think a big part of it is the fact that it's all within the class. It's contained within the class. It isn't like a go out and, so kids that have jobs and everything like that and struggle to get homework done, they're not hampered by doing PBL because everything is done within the classroom. It's contained. And it allows for kids that, they don't have long attention spans. They don't see why information is relatable. Well, this makes it so they can work with the information and they can make it relatable. They have an element of control to make the content relatable to them. So that should work on all levels, no matter what kid you're dealing with.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.